In today's video, I would love to share a few do's and don'ts for SEO for photographers, and to be specific, I will be talking about creating duplicate content. Hello, if we have not met before, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Yana Shellman. I have my little assistant here. I am a wedding photographer serving in New Jersey and the greater Philadelphia area. And can you tell I am growing little photographers here too. So in today's video, I would love to share with you a few thoughts that I had about the recent email that I have received from Google Webmaster Blog. The blog post was specifically talking about news websites and how they should be creating duplicate content and handling duplicate content, but I thought it would be extremely applicable to every area of business. And because I'm a wedding photographer, I wanted to apply this to photography industry specifically. So for the news website, the first point that they were talking about, be very careful with mentioning dates so that you do not confuse Google about what date you're talking about. So I thought to myself, that is true that if we are talking about March 15th wedding or like September 29th family photo session, and then on your blog post, the stamp date, which when your blog post went live, it's going to be a different date. In most of the cases, probably like 99% chance that you will not be blogging that session and wedding that same day. So the dates are going to be conflicting, so it will be two separate dates for whatever you are mentioning and whatever you are actually posting the blog post for. So I would say do not use the dates in your blog posts so that you don't confuse Google about what date that specific event belongs to. And if you have a disabled date on your blog post when you're publishing, like your published date is not shown, then maybe go ahead and share the date. But I would say for most of us who show the date when you publish the blog post, skip the date and just say September, this beautiful September wedding, or this whatever July family photo session, so that you do not confuse Google about when exactly that event has happened, because when they're confused, they might just consider skipping your content and not indexing it. And by indexing, well, you probably know, but if you don't, indexing means that Google is going to take your piece of content, your blog post, and share it to the public that they consider is helpful and valuable content to them. So it will be searchable and shown to people searching for that content. Number two they mentioned is do not use any kind of weird marketing schemes and linking strategies, which I would think that most of photographers would not be doing because most of us are not that technical. But if you are technical and trying to scheme around, don't do it, because Google will know that that's what you're trying to do and they will block your site from being indexed. And another thing to mention to this point, if someone is offering you things that you do not understand, I would just tell you either say no or go ahead and research what that offer is so that you are not hurting your website and your business by doing things that are going to not be helpful to you. And number three was the exact point about the creating and using duplicate content, which I thought was a very interesting thing for all of us to consider. However, the most important would be for educators and people who are creating very unique content and content that they will potentially want to reuse later in their life and the life of their business. So as I have mentioned before, Google loves original content and they reward and protect creators because they do want to serve their client. So us, whoever is searching, is their client, so they want to create the best experience possible for the searcher and give them the best and the most important information that they're looking for. And if you are creating new things, Google will know that this content has never been created before. This is a new thing that is very interesting and potentially very helpful to the users. So you, being a photographer, definitely appreciates the copyright law, and you know that you are being protected by the US law and by Google as well, because they do tell everyone that the image is probably copyrighted, so don't try to copy them and use them somewhere else. And the same thing they're doing for authors and writers. And you, if you are blogging, then you are a writer and an author, because you're creating unique descriptions for every wedding and every session that you're creating. So this is good that Google is doing it, because they are protecting your content from being stolen. So the point here that I'm making, do not ever copy one of your previous blog posts or the paragraph that you loved before or something like this, and then use it for another blog post, because Google will know that you are reusing original content and trying to create duplicate information. They are rewarding unique content. So if you want to be indexed, then create unique content for each session and make sure that you're not using different words, because there's only that many words that all of us can use, but don't copy that exact paragraph and use it in a different blog post. And this is the point that I was mentioning that educators should really be paying attention to, because if you are creating information and educational materials, it's only that many ideas and that many things that you will be describing. So if you are creating content for, let's say, online conference or for a website that will be published online, it will be extremely tempting for you to be able to reuse and recycle that information. Don't, or you will have to do a few things to make that information eligible and not to make your site blocked by Google. Again, if you are doing an in-person workshop or online education or a webinar, then absolutely that's fine, because it's not going to be typed in Google, and that will be just okay for you to reuse the content later. However, I would just say be very careful with having either a contract or some kind of agreement with whoever hosting the webinar or the in-person conference, so that you know exactly how that lecture will be used, so that if it shows up somewhere else in a typed form as a blog post that will be indexed by Google, if they will do it first before you publish your content somewhere else, they will be considered an original content creator, and they will be considered the copyright owner, or at least the person who was the first one to publish those words. And then later on, if you publish the exact same content, Google will treat you as a copier or copycat, is that the word? So they will treat you as if you are trying to copy someone else's content, and there's a chance that they will block your site from being indexed. If that situation has happened, I would say maybe use just a few quotes that you are quoting yourself, or at least you are creating a quote within your blog post, and make sure to use that specific quote tool within the platform, whatever you're using, WordPress or Squarespace. I definitely know that WordPress has the capability to create the specific quotes paragraphs, and there's a specific HTML that comes for that specific quote, so it specifically indicates that this is not a words created by you, which it is, but it's a quote, and it's not going to be considered as stealing content from someone else. If you are trying to create a exact duplicate from the source of information that you are that now is considered the original content creator, there is a way to avoid it, which is called, I don't exactly remember it, there is some kind of canonical tag that you have to add, and I'm just going to link it into the description of this video so that you can go to the description to that specific article, help article by Google, and be able to include that little tag. There's like a little tag that you just have to add within your page HTML, and then Google will know that you're not trying to get indexed for that information, you're not trying to steal it, but you're just, this isn't duplicate content that you're using on your website to make it useful for your to the visitors of your website, but this is okay if they don't index it, and then they will know that they're not going to block your whole site because of that just one blog post that you are creating. Another interesting thing that I thought was very fascinating is that Google actually recognizes rewritten content. And it's not just copy and paste content. If you go ahead and read through someone's paragraph and then rewrite it in your own words, if it says exactly the same thing on 2 pages, Google is going to punish you for doing that. So don't try to cheat Google with trying to steal someone else's proprietary information and someone else's ideas by trying to rewrite them with your own words and mixing things up a little bit, because Google will know that you have done it. And again, there is a chance that your site might be blocked from being indexed. So those were all of the ideas that I have taken from the email that I have gotten. And if those were helpful to you, I hope you enjoyed them. Feel free to like this video. This is the first educational video that I'm posting. If you think you would like to hear more about SEO for photographers or any other topics for photographers, feel free to leave me a comment below or reach out to me on social media. Let me know if you have any specific questions or requests, or just say hello. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next one, hopefully, which I think I will be creating. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching.
See you next time.
See you next